Hey everybody, this is Joe and welcome to another video on my series on the very basics of Python. And in the previous video we were starting to look at variables and mathematical operators. In this video we also looked at string and integers. Excuse me. So in this video we're going to look at constants and how it differs from variables and so on. So this will be probably a little bit shorter video, but I just wanted to bring this in. So I've put a comment in called constants. And when I'm talking about constants, those are things that don't change. Constants are things that don't change. And the way we do it in Python as a standard is we write it in capitals. So if we write something in capitals, for example, pi equals 3.14, we write that in capitals. Theoretically, you could have written it in Python. There's no difference in Python if you did that. There's absolutely no difference whatsoever. That means exactly the same thing. It sees it as two different variables, but a standard that we use in Python is just to declare a constant, which is a variable, but it's a variable that does not change, whereas a variable in a normal program can change depending on what you did, as you saw with the answer variable in the previous video. Obviously you can code it to change. In Python it doesn't matter, but in other programs that you use, you might learn one day, like C# or something like that, it might be different, or Visual Basic or something like that. But for Python we just use a standard and we use capitals to show that standard. Something else that could also be a constant is, for example, VAT. In the UK VAT is 20%, so 0.2, which is 20%. If you use that in the calculation, 100 times 0.2 gives you 20%. So and those are things that we call constants. You could have had the speed of sound, the speed of light, all those things as constants. But for today's video, I just want to show you how that works, and I'm going to get rid of the VAT because I'll just use a few. Actually, I'll just keep it there. I'm not going to use it. I'll just keep it there for clarity, and then I'm going to start and just show you, for example. Let's look at the circumference of a circle. I guess you all know the song that you may have learned, but we're looking at the circumference, and the circumference of a circle is going to be pi d, which is the diameter. I just want to put in another one here. I'm going to call it radius. It's not a constant. This is just a normal variable, and I'm going to say a radius of, let's say, 5. It doesn't really matter, just putting a value. And if I want to work out the diameter, that's going to be radius times, remember, times the multiplication is a star or an asterisk, and it's times 2. The radius times 2 would be the diameter. And then to work out the area, the circumference of a circle, I'm just going to say C circle, C is just for circumference, is going to be equal to, remember, it's pi d, so it's pi times, and then I'm going to open bracket. Actually, I don't have to do that because I worked out the diameter already, and it's pi d, pi and diameter, and then we're going to print that, and I'll just follow the normal. I'll just say circumference of, I'm going to say circumference, and that's going to be C circle. That should be fine. So it's 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times pi d should be 31.4. So let's see if that is correct. So F5 enter, and let's see. So there we've got 31.4 and some other things, but we're just interested in that. In a future video I will show you how to actually get rid of any of the backspace, just keep 1 or 2, but that'll be in a future video when we come to some of the other things. So circumference is 31. So that's that. So there you can see how we use a constant together with a variable to work out a simple calculation. Let's do the area as well. So I'm just going to say here area of a circle, so we can just use pi again. So you can see that I don't know if you remember what the area of a circle is, and that is pi r squared. pi r squared is what it is. We got the pi. We've got that over there. Let me just bring this tool in. So we've got pi. Let me try that again. I'm always too quick for this. So we've got pi. We've got radius, and the only other thing we need is the exponent to the power of 2. So let me get out of that. And so let's continue. So we're going to need. I just want to put in a new line like that, and then I'm going to start, and we're going to say the area of a circle. I'll just use the same format I used before. The area of a circle, and that is equal to pi times, and do I need this? I'm not going to put the spaces in. Pi times, and then we have a radius, and now we're going to do so radius times radius is what you normally do on a calculation, but if it's to the power of, like the square of it, so if it's radius and then you use star star asterisk asterisk and then a 2, that would mean it is radius times radius is what we actually looking at. And I'm going to close the bracket, and that should give us the correct answer. So I just want to quickly show you, if you do the to the power of or exponent, it will be a double star, double asterisk is what that is. So that's a new skill, that you've learned. And then we want to print it out. So we want to say print. We're going to get an error message, but I'm doing this on purpose so I can show you what we want. So I'm going to combine string this time. So I'm going to say this is now shall I do it? Now let's just do it like this first of all. So let's say the area of a circle, and I'll do it the same as before. I'll do it like this. Area. This is not going to give us a problem, but let's just run that quickly. So you can see the area is 78.5, but let's say we wanted to have, let's say it was meters or millimeters or kilometers or miles. We don't know what it is, and the area always has, because it's to do with a square, it always have to have something there. So I'm going to put in a comma, put in some string, and we want to theoretically have, let's say it was meters. Let's say it was meters. We want to put a 2, but as a superscript. We want a small 2 above to the right of m. It doesn't look great if we do that, because we've got that there. But I also want it against. I want to have it against. I don't want that space there. I want to have it against it. So I'm going to have to concatenate. I'm going to have to join that one together. So how do we do that? So this is a skill I want to show you. And first of all, we're going to run into all sorts of problems now. I'll tell you why. Because we have a comma separation, which we normally do, but as soon as we want to concatenate, Python doesn't like the fact that you want to mix things. So let me show you. F5 enter, and there we go. We run into a problem. So let's let me just quickly. Oh, I clicked away. How do I get it back? There we go. So let me just grab that and do it like this. So let's grab my tool. So you can see there that it was an unsupported operand type for the concatenation. It doesn't like the fact that you want to work with float, which is another data type, and you want to combine that with string. So it's not happy with the fact that you want to use two different data types together, as well as trying to join them. It doesn't like that. It wants data of the same type. So it's quite important, and it also tells you where the problem was. It was in that line where the problem was, and it was the fact that you tried to join something with two different data types. So we're just going to look at this float for a second. So F5, no, we don't want to F5, we want to escape that. I'm going to close that. So it's not happy with that. So the first thing we need to do is just use concatenate together. That's the first thing. It's still going to get the same error message. So I'm just going to say F5 enter, same error message, but this time slightly different. It says this time can only concatenate string, not float, to string. So it wants to concatenate string and string together. We still can't have this float. right? So that's the bit I want to sort out for you. So here we go. So this is the bit that it's not happy with. It's not happy with this because this is integer. And when you ran, let me quickly run this again. Escape that. F5 enter. The problem that you have here is, let me go back to red, is here. You've got a decimal. I'll just highlight that. You've got a decimal there. And that is not a whole number. If it was a whole number, it would have been integer. But because there's a little decimal there for the rest of this, that means it's called a float data type. A float data type. So this is what we want to sort out. So how do we do that? It's quite simple. We have to convert this float data type, or if it was an integer, it doesn't matter. We want to convert that to string. Remember, string is if it's in quotation marks. So we want to convert it to string using str, open bracket, and then closing bracket over there. What that does is the following. This little string here is a function. Remember, I spoke to you about a function. It's a word that has, let me just, why can't I see that? Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. It's a function is a word that's got an open and closing bracket. And here you can see, I'll just make that blue. Here you can see we have that same thing. We have a word, open and closing bracket, so it is string. So that's what we want to look at. So what does it do? The string, this bit is a float, a different data type, and we want to cast or convert it to string so that it's got the same data type everywhere. So this is the one that should solve our problem for this one. So let me get out of that, F5 enter, and now you will see we don't have that issue anymore. It is now actually showing us the whole thing, but it's still not nice. That doesn't look cool. That bit here does not look cool, so we want to sort that out. So I'm going to teach you a new skill. This is quite advanced actually, but I thought while we're running into this problem, let's solve this. Let's solve this. So we want it in meters. That's definitely what we want. That's let's say it was meters, but then we want to put in a special code. This is quite advanced, so you'll have to refer to this quite often. So it's a backslash, a little u, and then it's 00b. And that will give us the character. All of that gives us the character that tells us it's going to be an upper superscript. Sorry, that part will tell us it's a superscript, and it's going to make that 2, a little 2 above the value that we have in front. Let's see what that looks like. F5 enter, and there you can see, quite cool, quite cool. We just did that. We just did that, which is absolutely amazing. So if you want to do something like that, you're going to have to use a special code which in the end looks like this. It looks like that. So what does that mean? So this is, it's in string, so this whole thing is in string because it's in between quotes. The first part here is just our meters, centimeters, miles, kilometers, it doesn't matter, it's just that. And then the bit that we are interested in is the backslash, and the u can be capital or lowercase, doesn't matter, 00b. That tells us it's going to be superscript, and then the value at the back is the value that it's going to show, a 2. Okay, that's quite cool. Let me run that again so you can see that. So that looks quite cool. So if you wanted that to be, let's say it was volume, you could change that to a 3, F5 enter, and you have the little 3 for volume for cubed or whatever that is. This code here only works for the square and the if it's squared or cubed. The 2 or the 3 doesn't work for anything else. I'm afraid there's different codes if you wanted other superscript. So this is quite important for you to remember if you want to do that. You could just say it was millimeter squared or meter squared, but I like that. I like that little code. I use it quite a lot. So that's like an added bonus. I know this is the very basics of Python, but I thought that's an added bonus to put into your armor, in your toolbox for you learning these things. So that is, I'm just going to run that one more time. So this is what we have for this lesson. For this video is how to use constants, which is just another variable. It's in capitals and it's not going to change or you don't want it to change in the video, and I showed you how you can use it. I also showed you how to do casting, and then I had another example of concatenation using the little plus, which concatenation, remember, it just means to join. Cool, so thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.